was the screenplay first and foremost, and then just constantly eyeing that, what he's doing is walking a moral line that is complicated, so you can easily veer off into one side or the other, meaning, or more so, into sort of sociopathic side. And Dan and I always talked, it was our mantra throughout the movie, that we wanted, the audience to root for him. Be disturbed, but also root for him.
Yeah, you root for him because in a way he's very powerful, and he transforms reality to his own needs, which is very unusual, I think.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that to me is exactly what he does. And also, he takes reality and sort of turns it into a fiction. And he, to me, where the lines are blurred is where things become incredibly dangerous.
Do you think the way the financial world and the unemployment and the culture of internships forever are generating this type of needs to survive?
Yes. I think that Lou is the product of a generation. He's the product of this need for information, but also this need for sort of this idea of success, this idea of what we value, that if you can get away with it, then it's okay. That is an interesting question to me.
How important was it for you to produce the film as well? I know you've done big Hollywood movies and then independent films. Nowadays, it's not that easy to launch an independent film, or what do you think of that?
It's fun, I think, for me as an actor, because I think on the inside, I also can keep a producerial hat, knowing that the more I prepare and the more I'm ready, the more time we will save and the more things we can get. And this movie, I prepared it like a play, so that these big, long speeches he gives, I had memorized very early on, so that when we came in, we could do 2 or 3 takes and we could move on, and that means we were constantly we were making our days. As a producer, I thought, okay, we're making our days, we can get more stuff, because these things that everybody was daunted by, we have to shoot 2 pages, it's a big, long speech today, got done like that, and then we could go grab other things. So wearing both hats was really fun for me.
At what level did you identify with Mr. Bloom?
I think, his drive and ambition, I understand. I think that his choices, ultimately, the choices he makes and how he justifies them to himself, particularly towards the end, I couldn't empathize with. But I really started to think about it as choices we make generally, as a metaphor. I think I have a friend who had to fire someone the other day, let them go from a job, and it feels like some sort of death, or a figurative sense, and so in the movie when things like that happen, I looked at it as a metaphor, and in a way a real political satire, just in terms of how it's shot and stuff.
There are rumors about Oscars. Do you like that you've been nominated before, and how do you react to those rumors?
The thing that I find now is that, like, you make a movie and it works, and it's the most satisfying, biggest relief you can have, because it's so hard to make a good movie, and it's so hard to have a collaboration with people that you are satisfied by in a lot of ways, because there's so many interests and stuff, that just to have made a movie that people kind of love the character is great. You know what I mean? Like, it's great.
So with this job, fame comes along. Is that damaging? You seem grounded and healthy. I don't know. Was there a damage side related to fame?
I think the thing about it is that I probably recognize how I am healthy and not healthy, which is hopefully healthy. But how I think most of all it's about the work, and it's always about your work, and then it's about your life and your life being your own. I love my family, they're serious people who believe in, I believe interesting things, and they're all incredibly intelligent and very emotional and wise people. So I have those people in my life, and then it's about my work. And I think I focus on that really intensely, and I try and channel a lot of those feelings and things into the work that I do. And that's a great outlet.
Last question. You've worked with great directors throughout your career.
Yeah.
What do you think Dan brought into this? And I know that you collaborated with him very close.
Yeah. I think Dan is an extraordinary mind. And he is somebody who instinctually understands my instincts, and I do his. And He's an artist of the highest level, and he has such an enormous heart, and his sense, he's fearless in terms of going into these places that are scary. Those are the types of filmmakers that I love. That, someone like Denis Villeneuve, who I worked with, who understands himself well enough that he's not afraid to go into those darker areas, which ultimately are enlightening. And when you meet Denis, he's one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet. And I think it's as a result of not being afraid of that side. And I think the same thing with Dan. I think that Dan is not afraid of going to those places that scare other people. As a result, his heart is open, which is a great irony to a lot of people, but to me it's not. I think it just means that he's fearless in a lot of ways, which means he's vulnerable. And I think he's an extraordinary talent, and I really do love him deeply as a human being. So it's the best I can say.